Django-rest-framework clarification on field required option. I have the following serializer and this model. According to Django REST Framework serializer fields, the required option is set to true by default, which means if I try to validate the serializer without area field in the input, I should get this field as required error. But as _valid is passed and the model gets created with default area equals 0. However, using this would solve the issue, but why? What could change this behavior? Why the default required equals true has no effect? Update. I just noticed that if I remove the default equals 0 from the model, it will work as expected. Now the question is why setting default on model field cancels the required equals true on serializer.
I believe your problem here is that the field is being automatically generated by Django REST Framework, while the docs are coming from the perspective of you manually creating the field on the serializer. According to Django REST Framework serializer fields, the required option is set to true by default. This is correct for fields that you specify on your own on the serializer. In the case of automatically generated fields, Django REST Framework tries to determine the serializer field options that best match the model field, similar to how the Django Forms does it for form fields. For serializer fields, this is largely undocumented at the moment, so there is nothing that I can point you to. But as _valid is passed and the model gets created with default area equals 0. This is because Django REST Framework determines that the field has a default value, at which point as no's input is not strictly required because the model field will automatically give a default value in the event that the user passes nothing in. Of course, if you pass something into the serializer on creation, the value will be used instead of the default, which is what you would expect if you were manually creating the model. Would solve the issue, but why? What could change this behavior? Why the default required equals true has no effect? This will fix your issue because it is manually overriding the required equals false that is set on the automatically generated serializer field. In Django REST Framework 3.0, you can confirm that by calling req serializer, and looking at the automatically generated field. I just noticed that if I remove the default equals 0 from the model, it will work as expected. This is because Django REST Framework no longer determines the default and adds the required equals true to the serializer, like you were expecting.
Ja, ganz das Thema, das ist ganz schwierig zu kriegen.